Safely driving a motor vehicle requires the full attention and focus of the driver. Distracted driving, defined as any non-driving activity that has the potential to distract you from your primary task of driving, has been found to be a factor in 80% of vehicle crashes. Additional statistics emphasize how serious a problem distracted driving is.
Drivers eating or drinking behind the wheel are 3.6 times more likely to be involved in a collision than the attentive drivers who are not eating or drinking while driving. Drivers talking on cell phones can miss seeing up to 50% of the environment around them, including pedestrians and red lights. Drivers talking on the phone or texting are 23 times more likely to be involved in a crash.
The serious impact of this issue has caused many states to establish laws against distracted driving. These states have instituted fines and potential prison time for those found guilty of driving while distracted. We all know certain things distract drivers every day, like adjusting the radio, texting, eating, and drinking, and so on. But what are some of the most common distractions for professional operators? Here are several. Talking with passengers. Communication equipment, such as your tablet, MDT, or radio. Route maps, route descriptions, and onboard schedule displays. Vehicle equipment and fare boxes. There are 3 types of distracted driving that you need to be aware of and prevent. Visual, which represents taking your eyes off the road. Manual includes taking your hands off the wheel. Cognitive, thinking about something else instead of concentrating on your driving. As a professional operator, you understand the critical importance of keeping your eyes on the road and your hands on the wheel at all times. But you must also be aware of the many things that can distract you from focusing on driving in the safest manner possible. To safely accomplish your job, you need to stay continuously alert to avoid hazards. Here are 2 major issues that can cause distracted driving: multitasking and divided attention. Most people think of multitasking as the ability to do more than one task at a time and as a method of increasing productivity. But in reality, the human brain cannot do 2 things at the same time.
We can juggle different tasks very rapidly, and that may make us think we're doing 2 things at once, but we're actually switching our attention back and forth between those different tasks. You're really only performing one at a time. And because your brain is switching from one task to another, your reaction time slows down. That means you're not accomplishing either task with optimal focus or effectiveness.
Our ability to pay attention to more than one thing at a time has its limits, similar to the multitasking myth. When you divide your attention, the efficiency you do these actions with is decreased, and you will almost certainly perform poorly. An example of divided attention is talking on a cell phone while driving a vehicle. You perform both tasks at the same time, but you're doing them with divided attention.
By doing both at the same time, your brain is overloaded by incoming information. To handle that overload, your brain doesn't encode and store all of that information. Instead, your brain prioritizes some information for immediate attention and possible action and filters out the other information which doesn't become part of your short-term memory. As a result, you may not be consciously aware of the critical roadway information that's being filtered out. That filtering process results in your brain's inability to alert you to potentially hazardous situations. That's why critical warnings of navigation and safety hazards are missed when drivers are engaged in cell phone conversations, texting, or other distractions.
Let's take a closer look at the 3 types of distractions: visual, manual, and cognitive. Visual distractions include anything that takes your eyes off the road. This can include looking at directions, such as your MDT or tablet, or glancing down at your phone. Whenever you take your eyes off the road, you increase your chances of having an accident.
Recent studies indicate that drivers using cell phones are more likely to run stop signs at four-way intersections and are more likely to be involved in rear-end collisions.
The bottom line is this: using a cell phone while driving is incredibly dangerous and could cost you your life, and possibly the lives of your customers. Not only is it prohibited by law, but you could be criminally charged for the act if you are involved in a serious accident while using your cell phone or other electronic devices, such as a smartwatch. That's why our agency and company prohibit the use of cell phones and other electronic devices while you're driving. It's a deadly distraction, and that's why it's prohibited as part of company policy. So remember, it could cost you your job. Every second matters, and you never want to have to say, "I only looked down for a second." 1 second could be a deadly second. Our second type of distraction is manual distractions. This includes anything that requires you to take your hands off the wheel.
Both hands should be free to control the vehicle with both hands on the steering wheel at all times. Distractions such as eating, drinking, or grooming can divert your attention from driving safely. Be sure to follow these procedures. Turn your cell phone off and stow it away. Do not eat and drink. If you need to refer to your paperwork or trip information, do so when you are safely parked. Make all adjustments before driving, and do not reach for items while driving.
Our third and final distraction is cognitive distraction. This type of distraction doesn't necessarily require you to look away from the road or actively do something other than drive. Becoming mentally distracted happens when something affects your attention and concentration while keeping you from focusing on the road ahead. Have you ever driven somewhere and don't remember how you got there? Or have you driven a route so often that it becomes routine? Or you're mechanically going through the motions without paying attention? Such mindless driving is extremely dangerous and sets you up for an accident.
This is what we call inattention blindness and is an extremely dangerous hazard. This is when you see things, but you are not really seeing them and processing what is going on. Cognitive distractions can be caused by many things: multitasking or daydreaming, thinking about things other than driving, like upcoming activities, work issues, and responsibilities. Feelings and emotions such as anxiety, stress, fear, frustration, sadness, confusion.
Every time you drive, you have a personal responsibility to stay alert, and you know that it's never acceptable to drive distracted. You must always be aware of the dangers to everyone on your vehicle when you take your eyes off the road, your hands off the wheel, or your mind off driving defensively. Always remember, your primary task is to safely operate your vehicle. Operating a transit vehicle is a challenging job. Not to mention, you're constantly surrounded by possible hazards. To safely accomplish your job, you need to avoid distracted driving and stay continuously alert to what's going on around you. And remember, distracted driving is deadly driving. As a professional operator, you must constantly see 360 to prevent collisions, especially with pedestrians and bicyclists. Pedestrians or cyclists struck by a vehicle could be badly hurt or killed. A fixed route vehicle weighs up to 26,000 pounds and a paratransit vehicle up to 13,000 pounds. When it comes to bus versus human, human always loses. In this lesson, we'll focus on procedures to help you avoid incidents involving pedestrians or bicyclists. In any situation where your vehicle is near pedestrians or bicyclists, make sure you follow these procedures.
Slow down and keep your foot over your brake. Reduce speed if you need to. Tap your horn to communicate with pedestrians or bicyclists in your path to make sure they see your vehicle. However, use common sense when sounding your horn near a bicyclist or pedestrian. If you sound the horn when you're close to them, they could become startled and might fall into the path of your vehicle. Allow ample room for them to be safe if you need to pass them.
Be aware of pedestrians near your vehicle, especially in the following situations.
Be vigilant at night or when weather limits visibility. Pedestrians will be more difficult to see at night or in bad weather, especially if they're wearing dark clothing. Be alert for pedestrians who may suddenly walk into the street from between parked cars. Always practice precaution and reduce your speed in areas where this may occur. Stop before you reach the edge of crosswalks and limit lines. This gives pedestrians in the crosswalk an extra cushion of safety. Slow down and be prepared to stop when turning into or entering a crosswalk, even if no one is in it at the moment. A bicyclist may suddenly come out into the crosswalk from around the corner and not be aware your vehicle is coming. Check to see where customers are right after they deboard your vehicle. Make sure your path is clear and your customers are seated before you drive away. Check your mirrors and make sure they are accounted for. Be aware of intoxicated pedestrians, especially when they get off your vehicle. Know where they are before you continue your route. They can be unpredictable and can slip into a blind spot without your seeing them. Be cautious when backing up and goal. Pedestrians, especially young children, may move across your path as you're backing.
It's important to try to communicate with pedestrians by making them aware of your vehicle and your intentions. Use these methods to gain their attention. Tap your horn slightly, but don't startle them. Try to make eye contact with pedestrians. Never assume a pedestrian will wait for your vehicle to drive by before entering a crosswalk. Stop and let them pass. Never assume a pedestrian can see your vehicle. They may be distracted in some way and not aware that you're approaching.
Pedestrians and bicyclists may be distracted in a variety of ways.
Bicyclists are just as vulnerable, if not more so, than pedestrians in a collision with a vehicle. In addition, cyclists can move faster and turn quicker than pedestrians. Inexperienced cyclists can also lose control of a bike and fall unexpectedly. You'll need to be doubly alert for people on bicycles for several other reasons.
A bicyclist wearing headphones or earbuds may not be able to hear your vehicle and may not realize you're close to them. Many bicyclists don't observe traffic control devices such as stop signs or red lights. Be very careful in those situations. Be alert. Bicyclists may ride into the street unexpectedly mid-block or from other unexpected places or from a different direction than traffic is supposed to be going. Children riding bicycles can be very unpredictable. Give them special attention and plenty of room. Be especially careful of bicyclists riding between your vehicle and the curb.
Always maintain a 4-foot separation between the right side of your vehicle, including all mirrors or other objects, and the left side of a bicyclist. If you can't safely provide 4 feet of space for the bicyclist when attempting to pass them, slow down and follow them. Wait to pass them only when it's safe to do so. Here are additional safety tips. Assume bicyclists may suddenly turn in front of you. When you're passing a bicyclist, always try to gain eye contact. start with a friendly tap of your horn. Assume bicyclists may not see or hear you, so drive with caution to avoid a collision. When you pass a bicyclist, be aware that you'll lose sight of them at some point. Lives are literally at stake every time you encounter pedestrians or bicyclists. They are difficult to see, unpredictable in their actions, and most will be seriously injured or killed in a crash with a transit vehicle. The most common causes for crashes like these are driver inattention, failure to see and yield the right-of-way, and failure to control speed. As a professional operator, you must drive defensively whenever you're near pedestrians or bicyclists. Keep the safety of everyone in mind, whether they're on foot, riding a bike, or driving a vehicle. The decision to evacuate a bus must never be taken lightly. In most emergency situations, it's normally safer for customers to remain on board. You should not evacuate the vehicle unless it's absolutely necessary. However, there are situations where you need to evacuate the bus immediately to protect your customers from harm. If there is an immediate risk, don't hesitate, evacuate. Here are some examples of when you should evacuate your vehicle.
Your vehicle is on fire or there is a serious risk of a fire as well as smoke. Being stalled or stuck in an unsafe location. For example, within 14 feet or less of a railroad track or in a location where your vehicle is likely to be hit by a large, fast-moving vehicle like a train or a semi-truck. Your vehicle is in a dangerous position on the road where it could tip over or get hit by another vehicle. Fuel or toxic fumes are leaking into your vehicle. You see leaking fuel coming from or underneath your vehicle. Your vehicle is in the water, such as a lake or river, or is in danger of going into the water. One or more of your customers is threatening you or other customers. You suspect that a bomb or other weapon of mass destruction is on the vehicle, as well as any other condition that would make it safer for your customers to evacuate the vehicle immediately.
In the process of evacuation, don't forget the 7 steps for emergency response.
First and foremost, remain calm and professional to reassure your customers. Assess the situation. Protect people, then property. Get help or call dispatch. Reassure and assist your customers so they will stay calm and follow your directions. Secure the scene and gather information for appropriate incident reporting.
We hope you're never involved in a situation where an emergency evacuation is necessary. If you are, securing the scene and helping customers exit your vehicle should be your highest priority. Security is defined as freedom from intentional danger or harm to customers, employees, and the system. Because transit systems are open and accessible to the public, they are a fairly soft target for criminals and terrorists. As a professional operator, you must remain alert to unusual or suspicious activities on and around your vehicle. Since you'll be familiar with your operating environment, you are in an ideal position to recognize what's normal and what seems out of place. There are 4 overall ways you can provide safety and security to you and your customers while on the job.
Preparedness. Being prepared will help you to remain calm and properly manage an emergency situation when necessary. Observation. Be aware of your environment, in the yard, in your vehicle, and on your route. Watch for anything that's suspicious. Suspicious activity is characterized by a combination of actions that appear strange, inconsistent, or out of the ordinary for your work environment. Assessment. Assess your surroundings and evaluate the situation to determine if emergency services are required and response. Know what's going on, how to react, and who you should inform. When you respond, it's important to remain calm and follow agency protocols and procedures.
It's every employee's responsibility to contribute to a secure work environment, free from the threat of danger and risk. We all must do our part to be aware of our surroundings and the areas we work in to be sure they remain safe. Here are a few general security concepts you should practice every day to keep yourself and others safe.
Inspect your bus with security in mind. Be alert for possible security threats. Protect yourself and your customers in the event of a problem. Report suspicious people, activity, packages, or devices. And remember, you are not expected to act as a security guard or a police officer, but you are expected to get the appropriate help as soon as possible.